Hey guys, welcome back to Dogforge. My name's Paul, and in this entry in the Optimizing 5e series, we're taking a look at a spell that is generally pretty popular and well regarded, but I don't personally like, and that is Healing Word. So before we jump on into what we're doing with it and why I'm not fond of it, let's remind ourselves, for those of us living under a rock or new to the game, because you've been living under a rock, what Healing Word is and what it does. So, Healing Word. It's a bonus action, and it allows you to heal somebody within 60 feet with only a verbal component. It allows you to restore 1d6 plus your spellcasting ability modifier in hit points. This is a first level spell, and it is essentially the ranged, opposite side of Cure Wounds. The trade-off meant to be that Cure Wounds takes an action and touch, but uses d8, whereas the Healing Word, ranged and a bonus action, and only verbal, but it's only a d4. So, why don't I like this spell? Let's start there. Two reasons. One, this is very clearly just kind of a poorly designed spell. I understand what they were going for when they were trying to create an opposite version of Cure Wounds, but they ended up making something that's just a little bit too good. The range of 60 feet is a little excessive. I would have preferred to have seen this more in the 30 feet range. And going down to d4s from d8s, now that is a very real and palpable difference in hit point regeneration, and that does significantly affect how they upcast, should you want to upcast them. But I don't think that difference is enough to offset the massive boon of it only being a bonus action, meaning that you can still make a weapon attack or cast a cantrip or dodge or dash or whatever you want with your main action. The other reason I don't like it is because of yo-yo culture, and I don't mean walking the dog and all those other things the kids are doing with the strings. No, there are a certain tactical mindset in 5e that basically you're as effective at 1 hit point as you are at 0, so you may as well just let people go down and bring them up with a small amount of hit points as possible. This is heavily flawed in my opinion. It's something that I don't like either from a tactical optimization standpoint, but I also don't like it from a immersion and roleplay point of view either. And I think Healing Word greatly contributes to this problem. It's been in the game since, it launched in 2014 as it's a PHB spell, and it is widely available and pretty easy to grab should you want to. So I think that between that and Cure Wounds not doing really astronomical healing numbers in comparison, I think that is a big part of the problem. So I want to take this video as a bit of a challenge to make Healing Word an actually effective healing spell beyond minor patch-ups and just picking people up. So we're going to see if we can actually have this do reasonable, respectable numbers, and I think we're going to achieve that. So let's see how we're going to do it. Now, we're also going to be using a subclass that normally gets kind of clowned on, gets kind of derided a lot, and that's the Alchemist Artificer. The Alchemist Artificer is actually a pretty good, or at the very least respectable, dedicated healer, partially because they do get Healing Word added onto their spells through their Artificer, Alchemist spells feature. But mainly what we're looking for is this feature at 5th level, Alchemical Savant. This is going to allow them from 5th level onwards to add their intelligence modifier onto additional healing. It also does certain types of damage, but we're most interested in the healing in this point of view for this video. And this does require that you use alchemy supplies as the spellcasting focus, which you might think, Healing Word, that's only vocal, that's not a material spell. But the tools required part of the Artificer class means that all of their spells require use of a material component, most likely whichever tools or infused item they choose to use. So we can pair this together, and straight off the bat, this is going to change it to 1d4 with plus your spell modifier times 2. Now this is already a meaningful step up, a bit of a sizable bump, if you'd like. But there are like some other things that we can do. Now, one of the obvious ones is of course going to be the Life Cleric and their Disciple of Life feature. And that's going to add 2 plus the spell's level to Healing Word. So as a first level cast, that's going to be 3. And if you upcast it, there's going to be a little bit of scaling there. I'm not going to really recommend that you upcast the spell in this way unless it's kind of dire straits and you need the ranged. Particularly with this build, if you're going to need to upcast a healing spell, then it's just going to be better to just eat the action, use Cure Wounds, and just get that extra mileage from the D8s. So we're already looking pretty good, but we can go a little bit further. So we already have Alchemist, we already have Cleric, so we already have a high intelligence, and we're going to have a wisdom of 13 or higher, preferably 14, so that we can actually have a usable stat, because odd stats are dead stats. So what about Druid? Now there are 2 options here. I personally like using the circle that gives you Circle of the Shepherd and the Unicorn Spirit option that it provides. This is effectively an aura that you set up as a bonus action beforehand, and then when you cast healing spells, you get to do additional AoE healing within that aura. Now, it's going to be tied to your Druid level, and so it's not going to be a lot of hit points. Okay, so this is something to bear in mind. I don't really recommend for this build going higher than 2 into Druid, and I wouldn't really recommend going more than 1 or 2 into Life Cleric, just because you want to keep, primarily keep Alchemist just so that you get those features. Artificer is a really compelling class to remain single classed in. So this is going to allow us at 8th level to do something like this. Now with 5 levels of Alchemist, 1 level of Life Cleric, and 2 levels of Shepherd Druid, assuming a +4 intelligence because we've only had 1 ASI at this point, it's going to allow us to do 2.5, which is the average of a D4, +3 from Disciple of Life, +4 twice from our intelligence modifier and the Alchemist feature, and +2 from the Unicorn feature. That's going to be 15.5 on average hit points to a single creature, with 2 hit points to any other creature that is within that aura. This is already kind of massive. So if we take a standard user of Healing Word at 8th level, let's assume that they bumped their casting modifier to +5 because they would have had 2 ASIs at this point, then that's going to be 2.5 + 5, an average of 7.5. So we're already significantly above that, and we're doing some patch-up damage, patch-up healing rather, to everybody in that aura as well. Now, there is another way that you can do this. You can also, instead of Circle of the Shepherd, take Circle of Stars, and then their Chalice form is going to effectively give you another Healing Word, basically. It's another ranged healing that will do a D8 plus your Wisdom modifier. So this is for single target, or if you're just focusing on healing 2 people. This is superior to the Shepherd method we have here. I don't personally like that as much, just because it is pushing more reliance on the Wisdom modifier. And if you're going to be using that kind of thing, then you would probably be better off being primarily a Druid and dipping in Life Cleric and not going the Alchemist route. And you do have to set up your Starry form beforehand. You do have to do that with the aura, but you have the flexibility to set up the aura as a bonus action and then also, cast Cure Wounds or something. So I think this is really going to be the best option. Now, the smaller your party, or the less companion creatures in your party, the less appealing the Shepherd version is, and I would push you more towards the Circle of Stars. But I think this is a pretty good way to just amp up Healing Word in general, from that little pickup healing that it normally is reserved to. and make it a real healing spell. And this build, this customization, if you will, also works with Cure Wounds. So you have the flexibility of using Healing Word as a more beefy heal as a bonus action now. But if you need the hit points, and you have Cure Wounds prepared, which in my opinion you should have both of them prepared, then you do have the option of upping to those d8s and even upcasting to get more d8s and bumping those heals significantly. Just in terms of progression, one last note, I would personally go to Alchemist 5 unless you really want to get heavy armor early on. I think getting to Alchemist 5 first is going to be the smoothest progression, just in terms of getting all of your Artificer stuff, your infusions and whatnot together. And then dipping into Life Cleric is going to be a big surge of not just spellcasting, but also a boost to your healing at 6th level. It's going to feel nice at 6th level. And then going from there to Shepherd Druid is going to improve you as you progress through Tier 2. Obviously, as you increase your intelligence modifier, this is going to get a little bit more potent as well. As you go up to 5, that's going to be another 2 hit points on your main heal. So I think this is overall a way of making Healing Word more compelling if you're serious about healing and not just throwing a band-aid on your partner to quickly fall down again. But what do you think? Do you have another way to get a bit more out of Healing Word? Let me know in the comment section down below. And whilst you're there, hit that like button and subscribe. Every little helps grow this channel even further. Until then, I've been Paul, and I'll see you in the next video.